Good morning, everyone. Firstly, I want to ask you something. Have you ever gotten angry? Give it up, I believe most people have experienced that emotion. What I wonder is, what our identical reaction that is showed by that people who experience the anger? Blaming, blaming externally with they collocate themselves as victim. In psychological point of view, this mentality is called by self-victimization. Basically, people will face naturally two kinds of emotions which are positive such as love, grateful, happiness, and the negative such as pain, anger, and so on. It appears alternately, but when the negative comes out, it disturbs people's safe territory. This disturbance is going to be uncomfortable and triggering people's anger. And you know what? Anger is an emotional, it's a shape of emotion which is irrational and it doesn't have any justification or any excuses. The more people excuse for their anger, the more vulnerable they play with self-victimization. Self-victimization is an emotional condition which people operate self-victim perspective when facing a problem. They assume the world should be fair with them. They perceive deserving good treatment as if the whole world owes something by their proper attitude. If the world mechanism doesn't work as what they have projected before, they probably will crumble and imputing the others. And they never grow out of using poorly when facing a problem. Talking about self-victimization, I have a story related to this content. It was happened when I was in my senior high school. There was a teacher, a female teacher whose major in mathematics, standing in front of the class. She gave me a homework which contained so many equations. When I was home, I tried to work on it in 3 hours, and you know what happened? None of them had been solved, and I was frustrated, of course. I prefer blaming my teacher, who couldn't be a good teacher in mathematics, to evaluating what made me fail to solve the equation. And the worst cases, I was not only blaming my teacher, but also blaming, imputing the education system in my school. That is a terrible one decision that I have made. Telling this story, I remember what Robert Firestone said that preserving child victimhood when facing a problem is gonna drive us to use it chronically. No big reason, it is easy to fault people for our mistake besides to contemplate and admit what our incapability at some part in this life. That is reality, and it is bad for our mentality. And don't worry, there's a way to shift from playing victim stage to be a more adult stage, like being proactive and to be and using personal power to be more responsible. Here is the way. Dealing anger with constructive approach. We need to drop words like should, must, wrong, and so on, which can lead us to be victimized. Like the word should, it is a term that implies an obligation that has to be fulfilled by the other. As the opposite thing, we can replace this kind of negative sounded word like should with a more positive sounded word like can, for example. In the condition, in the condition that you think your spouse is being no longer romantic to you, you do not need to expect what she should do for you, but ask to yourself, what you can do for her. See, when we change the word soul, we can automatically rearrange the sentence and make offer the thoughts to be more positive and to be more courageous to do something or to do action. That is what I meant about constructive approach. So what can we conclude here? Yes, self-victimization is maladaptive and worthless. It is terrible for our mentality and it is destructive for our mentality and our body, and it should be changed. That's all from me, guys. Thank you so much.